The Scandalous Life of Maureen Reagan, 10 Astonishing Facts. Maureen Reagan, daughter of former President Ronald Reagan and actress Jane Wyman, led a life that was far from ordinary. Her journey was marked by controversy, challenges, and notable achievements. Here, we delve into 10 of the most scandalous and shocking facts about her life. Fact number 1. Early life and youth. Maureen Reagan's early life was filled with notable events and a pursuit of the arts. Born on January 4, 1941, in Los Angeles, California, she was the first child of Ronald Reagan and Jane Wyman. Her parents divorced when she was young, and Maureen was primarily raised by her mother. She attended Marymount Secondary School in Tarrytown, New York, graduating in 1958, and briefly attended Marymount University in Virginia. In her youth, Maureen pursued a career in acting, appearing in films such as Kissin' Cousins alongside Elvis Presley. Despite her initial foray into Hollywood, she later shifted her focus to political activism and public service, following in her father's footsteps but often forging her own path. Number 2. The strained relationship with father, Ronald Reagan. Maureen Reagan, the eldest daughter from Ronald Reagan's first marriage to actress Jane Wyman, had a complicated relationship with her father, which she openly discussed in public forums. Her feelings of neglect stemmed from Ronald Reagan's preoccupation with his Hollywood career during her early years and later his political pursuits. In a notable 1983 interview with The Washington Post, Maureen expressed differing views from her father, especially on matters such as women's rights, saying, "I love my father, but I don't agree with everything he does. We have our differences, and I'm not afraid to speak out about them." This public declaration was particularly striking as it contrasted sharply with the usual privacy maintained by political families, sparking widespread media attention and stirring reactions among Ronald Reagan's conservative base. Number 3. Marital turmoil and high-profile divorces of Maureen Reagan. Maureen Reagan's personal life was marked by public scrutiny and media coverage, typical for a figure of her prominence. Her first marriage to John Philippone in 1961 was short-lived, dissolving by 1963 amid circulating rumors of infidelity that filled the gossip columns of the time. Her second marriage to lawyer David Sills in 1964 seemed promising but eventually succumbed to pressures, leading to a public and acrimonious divorce in 1971. It wasn't until her third marriage to Dennis Revelle in 1981 that Maureen found a lasting partnership. The public nature of her previous marital dissolutions, often featured in magazines and newspapers, painted a picture of a tumultuous love life that fascinated and sometimes sympathized with the American public. Number 4. Cancer diagnosis and advocacy by Maureen Reagan. Maureen Reagan's battle with cancer began with her diagnosis of malignant melanoma in 1996. Rather than withdrawing from the public eye, she chose to face her illness head-on by advocating for cancer research and promoting the importance of early detection. She became a prominent voice, frequently speaking at events and in interviews about her personal experiences with the disease. One of her most quoted statements, from an appearance at a cancer awareness event in 1997, was, "I want people to know the importance of regular checkups. Early detection can save lives." Her advocacy not only raised significant awareness about melanoma but also humanized the Reagan family, revealing their private struggles and resilience in the face of personal health crises. Number 5. Political aspirations and failures of Maureen Reagan. Maureen Reagan, despite the political legacy of her father, Ronald Reagan, faced numerous setbacks in her own political career. She launched ambitious bids for major political offices, including her 1982 run for the U.S. Senate in California, where she competed in a crowded Republican primary but was defeated, garnering only a fraction of the vote. Her political journey didn't end there. She also ran for the U.S. House of Representatives in 1992 but was unsuccessful. Throughout her campaigns, she faced criticism suggesting that her candidacy was largely dependent on her father's fame. Critics often questioned her political acumen, accusing her of leveraging Ronald Reagan's reputation rather than her own qualifications. Despite these challenges, Maureen's resolve remained firm. In a 1981 interview with The New York Times, she expressed her undying commitment to politics. "Politics is in my blood, and I'll keep fighting for what I believe in." Her tenacity in the face of political adversity highlighted her dedication and personal convictions. Number 6. Controversial views on women's rights by Maureen Reagan. Throughout her life, Maureen Reagan was an outspoken proponent of women's rights, a stance that often put her at odds with the conservative elements of her father's political base. As co-chair of the Republican National Committee's Women's Division in the early 1980s, she used her platform to champion the Equal Rights Amendment and advocate for abortion rights, positions that clashed with the predominantly conservative views of the Reagan administration. Her advocacy for these issues frequently led to public disagreements and made her a polarizing figure within her own party. For example, during a 1985 conference on women's rights, Maureen made headlines with her statement, "Equality of rights under the law shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex," echoing the language of the Equal Rights Amendment and underscoring her commitment to this cause, despite the political risks involved. Number 7. The turbulent relationship with Nancy Reagan. Maureen Reagan's relationship with her stepmother, Nancy Reagan, was marked by notable tension and rivalry. This discord was particularly evident during Ronald Reagan's 1980 presidential campaign and his subsequent presidency, where Nancy's dominant role within Ronald's inner circle often left Maureen feeling marginalized. The friction between them was not just personal but also involved their influence over Ronald Reagan. Maureen addressed this challenging dynamic in her memoir, candidly reflecting on the complexities of their relationship. She wrote, "It was never easy being the daughter of Ronald Reagan, but it was even harder being his daughter with Nancy around." This quote encapsulates the ongoing struggles Maureen faced in seeking recognition and a voice within her own family, overshadowed by Nancy's formidable presence. Number 8. Accusations of nepotism faced by Maureen Reagan. Throughout her career, Maureen Reagan had to confront continuous accusations of nepotism, stemming from her father, Ronald Reagan's, high-profile political career. Critics often charged that her roles within the Republican Party and her appointments to various organizations were influenced more by her familial connections than her own credentials. This scrutiny was particularly intense during her tenure as co-chair of the Republican National Committee in the 1980s and in her roles in various governmental advisory capacities. In response to these claims, Maureen was compelled to publicly defend her competence and work ethic. In a 1989 interview with Los Angeles Times, she asserted, "I have worked hard for everything I have achieved. My father's name may open doors, but it doesn't do the work for me." Her statement highlights her ongoing effort to establish an independent identity in the shadow of her father's monumental legacy. Number 9. Adoption controversy involving Maureen Reagan. In 1994, Maureen Reagan and her husband Dennis Revelle faced significant challenges while adopting their daughter, Rita Revelle, from Uganda. The process was complicated by Maureen's health issues as she was battling melanoma. Given the complexities and the urgency of their situation, a special private bill was passed to expedite the adoption process. This legislative act was necessary due to the impending risk posed by Maureen's deteriorating health and the bureaucratic delays that typically accompany international adoptions. The move drew public attention and stirred discussions about the use of private bills for personal circumstances, especially involving high-profile individuals. Nevertheless, the successful adoption brought immense joy to Maureen and her family, highlighting her commitment to expanding her family despite her health struggles. Number 10. Legacy and untimely death of Maureen Reagan. Maureen Reagan passed away on August 8, 2001, at the age of 60, after a prolonged battle with melanoma. Her death elicited a widespread outpouring of grief and respect from a broad spectrum of individuals, including political peers, advocates, and the public. Figures across the political and social spectrum acknowledged her contributions to public service and her tireless advocacy for cancer awareness and women's rights. Despite the controversies that marked her life, Maureen's legacy is celebrated for her resilience, her outspoken nature, and her unwavering advocacy for her convictions. She remains a significant figure in the narrative of American political and social history, exemplifying the complex interplay between personal legacy and public service.